Hello, Joe. It's Tomas. I'm so sorry about that. My computer, my software seemed to have decided to take a little technical vacation there on the golf swings that I sent you. So I'm not going to repeat the whole lesson because a lot of it did come through correctly. I'm sure you've watched it all the way through, but I will give you the parts that turn black all of a sudden and let you see how the swing looked like in super slow-mo. This is the original caddy view, a straight-on view, and this is what the swing looked like in super slow-mo. There you go. I was happy to get your message about playing at Indian Peaks, by the way. You got 3 pars. Nice. Very nice. So this is the down the line view. Alrighty. Notice how that ball curved to the right there as it went out. I'm going to, this time through, I'm going to show you some, maybe you might be able to see the reason for that. So let's start over here. I'll draw these lines again. A lot of this shows up in the first version, but here is the first lines I drew on here to show what the swing was looked like as you started here, and you can see now that you can watch it, that you can see it, your head, and in fact your whole body, both the upper center and lower center, all moves drastically back as you start the backswing. You're putting your weight all over here on the left. In fact, you're up on your, or over here on the right, you're up on your toe here, as I pointed out in the other video, where your toe comes up, or your heel comes up and then moves to the inside and plants again. But at that point, look how far you've moved your head from where it started to here. So trying to get that back into this same position in order for you to hit the back of the ball without hitting any ground in between is it's a real challenge. And in fact, you see that you actually never do get your head back into that circle where you started. So one way to fix that, of course, is to start your head in a different spot, in a spot that feels more comfortable throughout the whole swing. So we'll talk about that. Here's where it shows that you're hitting the ground right there in back of the ball, as opposed to hitting down on the ball with your hands forward like the club is designed to do. And then you're trying to scoop it. You're actually just trying to keep you're bending your arms to keep that club from crashing into the ground, and then scoop it up into the air. And you see your head never does get back. And in fact, on a through swing, you really stand up so that your head is way, way out of where it belongs. It should stay in that circle all the way through about there in a real swing. So we'll work on that, work on getting your weight over on the left-hand side. And then at impact position here, right when you hit the ball, the other thing that I was showing you was that your arm here is all sorts of contorted here, mostly bent at the elbow, once again to try and keep the club from crashing too hard into the ground. So we're going to try and fix that as we go forward. Over on this side, I drew the circle around your head here where you started, and then the line through your body from your neck to your waist, from your waist to your knee, from your knee to the ground, like that. And then as you play through that swing, you can see when you get to the top. Look at your head now. Look at your head. So my point was in the other one, this isn't too bad here. Your body is tilted in this sort of a similar inclination. You got your this leg could be straightened out a lot more at this point, but your hips have turned nicely here. This we don't like this heel coming up off the ground, but and of course this arm is bent here on the backswing, which we're going to work on too. But my point in the other one was that if you just started with your head right here, it might be a lot easier than trying to get it back there, because you notice that you do just sort of leave it there throughout the whole swing. So until you get to impact and you're trying to once again lift up to keep the club from digging into the ground. So if we went back to this point and instead of drawing the circle there, we drew the circle here. We drew the circle here. This is where your head ends up. Then as you go through the swing, look how steady it is until you get there, and then you have a tendency to stand up, which your body should still be in incline at this point. There, it should be still in the original incline, what it was, but you're all stood up here. But throughout most of the swing here, once your head pulls up to that point, you see, it starts way down here. But once it pulls up and gets to this point right here, then as you go forward from there through the swing, look how steady it stays. So we'll probably just going to work on changing your address position to accommodate that, so you don't have to lift up to get there. You're already there when you start. We're trying to reduce the number of moving parts so that we can get you right back to that same impact position. Instead of hitting the ground like you do there, we're going to hit the back of the ball first. Okay? So that's there's some of the parts that you couldn't see in the other video. Once again, I'm sorry about that. But also going to bring in the punch drill lesson here that we worked on. Oops, let's get rid of those. There we go. There's the punch drill. And now this one you never did get to see play through, but I'll play this for you. This is so good. Look how straight this arm is. Very, very good. That's the way your real swing should look. You know, not quite that excessive in terms of the weight, but look at that. That's really good. And so the thing that I was pointing out most specifically in this is this impact position right here, how this looks. Look at that. Almost perfectly straight arm versus this impact position over here where we had this. Big difference. Big, big difference. And then as far as the position here, you see your hands are starting to roll and flip here, whereas at one point I showed you the finish position that we were going for, and you can see here your hands have not rolled over. Your left arm is actually a little bit bowed there. So this your hands are still behind the club head at this point. That's the finish position we're going for. Right heel on the ground, all the weight over on the left side, and the handle still in back of the still in front of the club head. So that and you achieve that by having this little bow in your left wrist. And that's a lot different than over here, where you get past here and you've just scooped the ball off the ground. Look at the difference there in those two positions. That's a major, major difference. In this one, you're going to have solid contact back into the back of the ball. This one, you're scooping it up off the ground. So I'm sure you can see the difference there. This is what we're going for. So, all right. So then you can refer to the other video for the rest of the summary. But overall, I'd say it was pretty good. Oh, let me show you the one last thing that didn't seem to show up properly, and that was your full swing after the lesson. Here. Oops. Get out of there. Full swing after the lesson here. We'll play through this so you can see. First of all, let me put this little guy back in here too. There. Alright, now watch your head. Look at this now. This is after the lesson. First of all, look at your stance. Look at your stance, your dress position compared to your original dress position here. Look how much more athletic you look here. Okay? Still like this left foot flared out a little bit more. That would help you. And your left arm a little bit straighter. But look at what happened. See your head. Remember how your head moved out of the circle before? This one here. When you started making the swing, look at that. See that? Versus this. There you go. Now you're extending, tilting, and turning. Now your head still, it still moves a little bit, but this looks so much better. Look at the difference here. Look at that. You kept your foot on the ground versus this. This looks like a golfer here. This is the swing after our lesson. This is the swing before. So we picked up just by doing that little drill and you listening to a little explanation of the geometry, we made a tremendous, tremendous improvement. And still a ways to go. You see how you're pulling up here with that left side, trying to keep the club from crashing into the ground, but it definitely hit the ball first. Look at that. Still trying to pull up a little bit instead of continuing that straight left arm all the way through. But it's so much better. So much better. You're still standing up. We're going to work on that follow through. Keep your head down in the circle. So, a great improvement. Tremendous improvement. None of that heel movement anymore. Just looks so much more athletic. So much more athletic here. Yeah, nice work. So I hope now that you have all the pictures from both videos, and I recommend that you review them a little by little, and practice whenever you can, especially practice that little punch drill so that you feel more comfortable with it. Takes a while. Takes everybody a while. And but it makes a tremendous difference in your ability to make solid contact at impact every time. And as I mentioned, that's one of the things that we consider to be a basic of playing this game, to hit the ground in the same spot every time in front of the ball. So, all right, good deal. I look forward to hearing from you about our next lesson, and we'll take it one step further. Okay, thanks, Joe.